It seems like there have never been more ways to buy a CRV than right now. Case in point, we've got the latest trim available. This is the CRV Trailsport, but we also have a tried and true model over here. This is the CRV EXL. And each of them not just have a different feature set, but different powertrains, different strengths and weaknesses. And well, honestly, Nick and I have our favorites. I'll give you a hint, we're already standing next to them. But let's dive into what makes these a little bit different and which one might be a better fit for you. And if not one of these specifically, what you might be looking for if a CRV is on your shopping list.
We have spent most of today driving the newest addition to the CRV lineup, the Trailsport. Now they're going for the off-road orientation that you find in the Passport, the Pilot, as well as the Ridgeline. And now I have my own thoughts about this, but I'll share those here in a little bit. But let's talk about some of the differences. And starting in the front end, you can see a lot of differences because this is going to get a lot of gloss black treatment. This is going to be a little bit more sporty and styling, as well as have more chrome. So Travis, you want to tell me about your front end and what's different about the Trailsport?
I'll tell you what I like about it is that there's a little bit more styling elements built into this front end. Now, not to say yours isn't elegant, because I really do think it is, but what they've done here is just bring a little bit more pop to the show. Instead of having things nice and smooth down here, we've got these what look like sort of inlet elements. We also have what's meant to inspire you to imagine a steel skid plate, although unfortunately we don't have one. This strip down here is simply painted plastic, so no extra protection, but it does have a pretty good look. We also have a different grille. It's about the same shape and size, but what's inside of it is a little bit more aggressive, more slashes, more angles, and that's obviously more sporty. But my favorite part up front, besides having this really nice color, is actually going to be this Trailsport badge, because I love the bright orange accent, and there is a fair amount of it found throughout the vehicle, so that's probably why I'd lean this direction.
Now, it's a good point to mention is that this ash green that was previously found on the Passport at launch of the Trailsport Passport for this newest generation is now found on the Trailsport here. It's not going to be available for any other trim of the CRV. Now on the front of mind, as Travis said, the grille is going to be a little bit different, but what is going to be different is the safety features. On the front of the EXL, you are going to find parking sensors, and that is going to be down here in this lower unpainted grille section. And you're not going to find that on the Trailsport because that is not available, front or rear, not available, which is kind of a huge miss for me. For the price point, I would wish they just added that on. You want those parking sensors to make sure you're not going to hit the curb, the flagpole, whatever it may be. But we're going to have a lot more chrome on here, especially up on top. The lower splitter is going to be different, a lot less aggressive, but it's going to just look a lot more classy rather than sporty.
There are plenty of shared components as well. I mean, we have the same headlights, but the whole facade here feels a little bit different. Admittedly, I wouldn't mind having some parking sensors, but obviously if you're taking this off-road and you're getting close to obstacles all the time, you wouldn't want it beeping at you all the time. But that might not be what you do with this. I will say, yes, at the price point, I wish they were there, and mine is a little bit more expensive, but let me go ahead and tell you why. See, it's not just the orange accents I get on the outside when you pop the hood. There's a little bit more orange inside, though a slightly different shade, and that's because I get the hybrid powertrain system. Actually, all sport models of the CRV get the hybrid system: the Sport, Sport L, Sport Touring, and Trail Sport, so it had to be here. What that means is most of the time I'm being driven by an electric motor that produces 187 horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque, which is a little bit less horsepower than you get, but Honda says the whole system will produce 204. But we've got a video we'll link down in the description on how this engine works together with the hybrid system. What it also means, though, is that I get better fuel economy. The hybrid is generally rated for 40 city, 34 highway, and 37 overall combined, which is gonna be a little bit more than Nick gets over here. But because I have the Trailsport, I assume mostly due to the tires, my rating drops by about 2 miles per gallon. That's 38, 33, and 37 overall combined. Either way, that's still coming up a little bit higher. And this one does have all-wheel drive, Trailsport all-wheel drive standard, though of course you can get hybrid and front-wheel drive in some of those other trims.
And under my hood is the tried and true 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired to a CVT. Now this pairing gets 190 horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque and can achieve around 29 miles per gallon combined in this all-wheel drive configuration. Now you can upgrade to the all-wheel drive for about a $1,500 surcharge, but if you wanted to go front-wheel drive, you will not only save a little bit of moolah, but you'll also gain some miles per gallon out on the road. Now, the 35 that you get in the Trailsport versus the 29 that you get here, that will add up over time. But is it worth the extra around $200 to $2,500 depending? if you go for that Trailsport, well, that is up for the buyer to decide. But let's go over some other differences on the interior, some sacrifices that you had to make that hybrid platform work for the price point, and some things that I get that you don't that make the EXL a better choice.
On the inside here, I do have a pretty good standard set of features, including dual zone climate control, Qi wireless charging mat, wireless phone projection onto this 9-inch screen, which is bigger than it was last year. I also have a 10.2-inch driver display. What I am missing is some of the niceties. It's a cloth interior, but because it's the Trailsport, I get a pretty unique look to it. I get that orange stitching carried throughout, orange Trailsport here in the headrest. I even get Trailsport specific floor mats, which, you know, it's nice to have a set of floor mats, and if they're theme matched to the rest of the vehicle, not a bad thing. Plus, because this is intended to go on some greater adventures, I have a nice open moonroof so I can see what's going on in the world around me. And I have leather wrapped steering wheel, which you don't find on some lower trims because I do get a heated steering wheel along with this model.
Now, Travis, don't get too amped because some of those features that you were excited about, things like the wireless charger, 9-inch infotainment screen, and wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, are standard across the CR-V lineup. Now, on the EXL and up, the EXL and all the hybrid trims, you are going to get the 10.2-inch digital display for your gauge cluster. It's going to display a ton of information and give you a multicolor, really premium feel to the gauge cluster. That's going to be found on those trims. Now, I happen to not have the heated steering wheel. That's only going to be in the Trailsport as well as in the Sport Touring. So the Trailsport and the top trim hybrid, those are the only two that are going to have the heated functionality. But nonetheless, I still have a leather wrapped steering wheel, and that is to accompany my leather wrapped seats. Now the EXL EX leather is simply put, this is going to have a leather trim. I really like the design, and it gives it a nice premium feel. You're going to have 2-position memory over there on the door. And you're also going to have power with 2-way lumbar on the driver's side and power seats, no lumbar adjustment over here on the passenger side. Now, there's things that you're not going to get in any of the CR-Vs, things like a 360 camera system, as well as ventilated seats. You're not going to find that anywhere except for in some of the competition. So if you are looking for that, you're going to have to look elsewhere. But nonetheless, I find that the interior here on my EXL is a little bit brighter and airy than what you're going to find over there in his Trailsport, because we do have a tan headliner as well as a sunroof. So it feels a little bit more open and less dreary inside of my cabin, and I really love the interior here. Now, obviously, a lot of the features are going to be the same. The honeycomb HVAC grille, this dimpled, almost golf ball-like texture, the dual climate control, heated seats, and a very satisfying click to the physical HVAC controls.
It's fair to say that the silhouettes of each of these models is going to be pretty much the same, but I have a few accent pieces that do make it stand out just a little bit. Instead of having body color panels on things like the mirrors and the door handles, I have gloss black, which does carry around to the rest of this window surround, as well as to my roof rails, which you can get, but you don't get them standard. Though the biggest thing that's going to stand out is going to be my wheel and tire package. That's actually one of the big reasons to get a Trailsport, is if you want a little more off-road capable tire. Now, this isn't an incredibly knobby tire, but if you do spend a lot of time in dirt or gravel, it is going to give you just a little bit more grip. It is labeled as an all-terrain. It's a 235/60 tire with an 18-inch wheel, but mine is painted in dark gray, while yours is going to be, well, not. Although you do have a rugged wheel option, I think I'd go ahead and stick with mine.
Where Travis's car had the gloss black accents, mine is going to be chrome for the window surrounds. We're going to have a more sleek design with no roof rails, body color door handles, as well as mirrors. Now, my tire and wheel option is not going to be as aggressive. We're not going to have that double 5-spoke design that's exclusive for the Trailsport trim. We're going to have this multi-sport design, or multi-spoke, excuse me, design that is painted in a different hue of gray. Now, we are having the same tire size, but this is going to be your all-season, a Bridgestone 235/60/18. And this is going to make it drive just a little bit more well-mannered out on the road. I instantly felt that this vehicle rode better than the Trailsport out on the open road. Obviously, you're not going to have the same traction off-road, but that is a trade-off you have to make. Now, one thing I wanted to mention is that even though his is the off-road oriented trim, he doesn't get any special suspension tuning or any extra ground clearance. Really, the only mechanical or more capable change that is applied to the Trailsport is going to be those more aggressive tires. So the all-wheel drive system and the ground clearance that you find here is the same that you're going to find over on the Trailsport. So if you're looking for something that has better suspension tuning or even more ground clearance than what's offered, this is not going to be the vehicle for you. Some of the major design differences between the EXL and this Trailsport is going to be found in the lower portion of the front and rear bumpers. Now on the front, you have that small little gray piece that's on the Trailsport, and you're going to find that also here in the rear end. You're going to have that gray painted piece of plastic going across, a little of a rugged design down below, and a dual chrome tip exhaust. Now there is only an exhaust tip coming out of the passenger side. The driver's side is going to be blocked off. Now a different part over here on the EXL is we're gonna actually have a dual exhaust tip, but they're gonna be kind of hidden underneath the bumper. You're not gonna have that gray painted piece and that rugged design splitter in between, but in place you are going to get parking sensors. Everything else is relatively the same. You both have spoilers. One is gloss black and one is unpainted black. You're gonna have that third brake light, privacy glass, rear wiper, and heating functionality. Now if we open up these power lift gates, as they both have, there's 39.3 cubic feet of storage behind that second row and 76.5 cubic feet behind the first row. Now over here on the hybrid, there is a little bit of a difference between the EXL and this. You are going to have a load floor that is not accessible. So you cannot lift this up. It is fully locked out because there is high voltage electric under here. There's no spare tire, no fix-a-flat. The fix-a-flat is now located over there on the driver's side wheel well, and it's tucked away, kind of taken away from that side compartment storage. Now over here on the EXL, there is a load floor that is accessible, so you can lift that up. There is a full-size spare tire under there with your jack to change that out. And if you wanted to, if this is not enough storage for you, you can drop that load leveling floor down, or I guess that dual level floor down, and gain a little bit of space. Now both vehicles are going to have a 12-volt outlet and LED lights on both sides to illuminate your cargo area. Now, if you wanted to maximize your cargo space behind that first row and you wanted to fold down the 60/40 folding seats, there is going to be about a 6-inch hump between the load floor as well as the seats. So sleeping in the back of your CRV is not necessarily an option. If you're thinking about getting yourself into a CRV and you're not quite sure if you wanted to go for a hybrid or something like a gas alternative, well, the price might sway you, because to get into a base LX two-wheel drive, you're looking at $32,000, including the $1,400 destination charge. But if you wanted to go for something like an EXL, a fully loaded gas trim, you're looking at $38,295 for something like we're looking at here. Now, Travis, going to be a little bit more expensive over there, right?
Yeah, it's fair to say his feature set is a little bit more expansive than what I have over here, but I've got the engine and I also really do like the way this is set up. But if you want yourself a Trailsport, that's going to start at $40,195. That does also include destination, and you can go ahead and get some features on this. I believe this color is a little bit extra as well, maybe exclusive, but still an option. But for me, one of the biggest reasons to get anything like this is going to be what's under the hood. That's that hybrid engine, and that's going to start out at $37,025. So that's going to get you into the Sport hybrid, and like I said, anything with a Sport comes with a hybrid on that CRV trim. That's going to be the two-wheel drive model. If you want all-wheel drive, it's about a $1,500 option, but one that if you're in any sort of climate that you don't feel comfortable with unless you have all-wheel drive, absolutely not worth considering any other option. But if you get the Trailsport, no need to click the box, it's already there. Between these two models, quite a few differences, but let us know down in the comments which one you would prefer. This one is the brand new model, and if you haven't heard much about it, we'll leave a link down in the description so you can watch our deeper dive into this and see what it can and also maybe what it can't do. Either way, there are lots of ways to choose your CRV. Let us know which one you're interested. If you also want to see more of us, not only do we have a lot of videos, but we also have a podcast. You can find that on the Auto Buyer's Guide podcast, either here on YouTube or any other place you listen to your favorite podcasts. Nick and I need to get these cars back because we've had enough time with them today. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Till next time, we'll see you down the road.